Welcome back to the show, and it's time for Hot Topics. And this time we got to behave because, we have a very respectable panelist. Say hello to historian Feliks Banel. We also have our friend and King 5 traffic anchor Shante Sumpter and New Day producer Susie Wiley. Hey, y'all, thank you for being here.
Wait, who's this respectable?
I said respectable panelist.
Oh,
indeed.
me.
That would be you.
Who'd have thunk that?
So we brought all the respectable things here for you today, like a Slurpee. So we were talking to Doug just a little bit ago about the Slurpee, and I'm cold because I've been drinking this Slurpee, so I have my blankie here. So what do you think? Do you love the Slurpee, Feliks?
I do. I think they're great. I mean, it's the combination of cold and sugar. It takes me back to my earliest memories.
Susie, what are you eating?
I love a Slurpee, but I brought you all my favorite treat from 7-Eleven. And that is the nachos. They are so bad, they're good.
Wait a minute. It's just like, I love that you brought us.
I call them nachos with cheese from hell. I mean, it's not great, but it's so bad, they're good. And when I go in there, I do a whole layer. Like I start and I layer the tray with cheese, and then I open the chips and put a few in, and then I layer more. I'm there for maybe a half hour.
This takes me right back to like the roller skating rink.
I know.
It makes me think of like high school
grade
football games.
Yes.
Which is colder, though, the cheese or the Slurpee?
Okay. All right. In a minute, it won't matter because your chips are going to be saturated and soggy, and it'll just be delicious.
I don't think
promise.
so. I think that the viscosity of this cheese is going to live on and not affect the chip.
Not affect the chip. I promise you it will.
The natural color is really encouraging. You see, they think, thank you, Mother Nature. Thank you for bringing this bountiful harvest to us on this beautiful morning.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, speaking of viscosity, there was a big article that came out over the weekend. I don't know if y'all saw this. We were talking about tsunami warning and learned this week how fast the water would rise here in Seattle if a big quake hit the Seattle fault line. So who's prepared for this? Where are you going to go?
I've got a basement full of nachos with that cheese, and when the tsunami hits a few hundred years from now, it'll be exactly the same.
You might be able to use the chips.
The cheese will not change.
All right, so
all.
this is where we're sitting right now, okay? Under 6 feet of water.
Yep.
In 3 minutes. So, we better run upstairs quick, y'all. I'm gonna be, honestly, the second that I start to feel the movement, I'm out.
Well, if the earthquake doesn't crush the building you're in and kill you right away, you will have to get up and run for the tsunami, that's for sure. But it's been 1,100 years since we've had a quake like this. It's good to be prepared because, if history tells us anything, bad things will repeat themselves. So yeah, so take this with a grain of salt, but be prepared, have stuff, have some supplies ready, and then find the easiest way to get to high ground when the time comes.
1,100 years since it hit a Seattle fault line? Since on that specific fault line, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, after the Northridge quake, anytime I feel the slightest movement, I'm out the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you ever see me running, you'll know why.
Wait, I thought you were supposed to shelter in place. You run when the earthquake hits?
Oh, well, I usually run to a doorway.
Oh, gotcha.
Or
Okay.
find the triangle of safety,
Got
which
it.
is a
Okay.
whole other topic.
Just making
All right, Shante, have you ever been through an earthquake?
I haven't, but I did the drills, in elementary school when they have you go under the table. I don't know if that's still the case, but seeing the tsunami, the little review you just showed us, and I heard about it last week, and thinking about like Lumen Field being under 6 feet of water, it's just hard to imagine, but I'm hopeful that I'll be at home if it happens, and then, I have a lot of floors at that rate.
Yes, not driving, that certainly would not
And
be
usually
good.
our sports teams are just metaphorically underwater, so it's amazing to think of them actually underwater.
I see what you did there. I will be at 7-Eleven.
Oh, well, you're going to be one of the first ones.
I'm telling you, you're going to be able to
I'm
float on
going
these nachos. I don't think these are penetrable to water. All right, speaking of water, one designer at in Paris at Men's Fashion Week grew real plants on clothes.
This is insane. Can you imagine how moist they were?
Oh, they probably smelled too.
Gives a whole new meaning to the word manscaping, I think.
You made me legitimately giggle there. I almost snorted. How do you even, see, sometimes this happens when I leave clothes like in the car too long. Or there's like a leak in your vehicle.
If you wash clothes and forget about them, and then you have to start over, because then they kind of mildew. And I imagine you had to have that type of environment to grow.
It looks like a chia.
Yeah, I could use some help like that on top of my head, growing something, but I don't think I'm ready to have grass growing on my head or my clothes yet.
Yeah,
That's a no.
it's a big no. I wonder how many Chia shoes didn't make the cut because they just couldn't grow. My kids are growing and they'd be dead.
You got to make your kids mow them every week. You know, they get resentful and everything. I mean, it's just all bad.
They wouldn't even grow.
I feel like all you need is a high school boy's gym bag, and you're going to have what's happening on those clothes. I mean, I was a big no on that.
All right. Well, another topic for you, ruining a good friendship. Martha Stewart has one great idea. She says, waiting for friends to die so she can date their husbands. What?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you'd still wait for somebody to die to steal their husband, but I listened to it because when I read it, I'm like, what is Martha? What you doing, girl? What you doing? What she's saying, kind of, is once you get to a certain age, I think some of the deal breakers are no longer the case. You know, the pickings are already slim out here. And then when you start thinking about getting older.
Like your friend's husband.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it's hard.
It is.
By the way, the password to that Netflix account did get changed, she told me.
Yes. Oh,
We'll have
yeah.
to fill you in on that one later, Felix. But
Well, I mean, she's think of it as ministering to grieving friends, right? After somebody passes away,
Yeah.
you know, why not? Martha can step in and be there in their hour of need.
I'm here for you.
But she said it out loud before, and that's the problem. And she tried to walk it back and be funny, but I don't know if I'd trust her after that, right?
Yeah, she wouldn't get to be around my husband, that's for sure. But
Listen, I'm all for it. Like, if I kick the bucket and Martha's around and she wants to support my husband, I mean, she's got all the things. Like, go ahead, just be nice to my kids, and we're good, lady.
I'm haunting
We're
you
good.
every night. No.
She'll make the funeral really nice, though.
That's true.
Very
That would be a very well coordinated funeral.
It's all very tasteful. Yes.